This is NR2003 Predicts. Using constantly updating ratings, we determine where Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series drivers will place at any given track any given week. Standard disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only, using the process of automated intelligence and should not be used in the process of gambling. So here's how it works. We update drivers' ratings week by week as we go throughout the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series schedule. We run a 100% simulation with normal tire wear and fuel consumption. Qualifying results match what the drivers actually ran in real life. Because qualifying data can't be arranged at the same time as forcing cautions, stages will not be enforced throughout these races. And weather used reflects the real-time data based on the actual start time of the race. The rains have ceased, at least momentarily. Kevin Harvick's going to see the green flag, and we're racing here at Richmond. Harvick gets off to the good jump on the inside line. Erik Jones trying to stay strong on Kurt Busch and gets the good momentum off at the turn. Harvick leads the first lap here. Taking a look at a couple of drivers that did not qualify well. It seems like every week we've got at least one or two drivers that finish in very bad positions to qualify. Ryan Newman and Ryan Blaney, a couple of Ryans starting way far back in the field. They are going to have to try to fight their way up from the rear. It's going to be a little bit difficult. Track position is a valuable thing on this racetrack. We're looking at Kyle Busch right now, winner of the past two races here at this racetrack. 6 wins overall, the most among active drivers in the Cup Series. And he is trying to see what he can do to work his way up to the front, as he is currently running in the 6th position. Chase Elliott trying to work his way by Martin Truex Jr. Runs in the 7th place right now. And he had some solid finishes in the past couple races. He's finished in the top 5. Got a 2nd in the spring and 4th in the fall. Kurt Busch, he's been on a bit of a streak lately, running pretty well and really running well for what that one car has been in the past couple years at that Chip Ganassi stable. And he's up here in the top 5 once again. Erik Jones trying to play keep up with Kevin Harvick. You can see that 4 car has gotten off to a 2nd lead, as it looks like the Stewart-Haas camp might have found something in that 4 car to utilize this weekend. How about an attaboy for Chris Buescher? He did not have a great finish at Bristol, but he had a great run going for him. He ended up finishing 22nd, but he was up there near that top 10, trying to see if he can compete for that position until a late pit stop took him out of the contention spot. Joey Logano trying to look to the inside of Erik Jones here for 2nd place. Had a solid run at Bristol, ended up finishing 3rd place, but last run here in the fall was not very kind to him. He ended up 14th and 1 lap down. Matt DiBenedetto, he had a great run going for him at Bristol. He ended up finishing 12th. One of his best performances in that 95 car. Now trying to work his way up from a little bit further back in the field. Not running too great here tonight at Richmond. Trying to see if he can get past that 36 car. It's been well documented before. Martin Truex Jr. trying to look for his first short track win. And right now, it doesn't look like he has the speed to make that happen. He is still running in the 6th position, but he has to get a little faster because everyone in front of him is way out in front of him. Kevin Harvick finally reaching some lap traffic about 30 laps into the race, so he's going to have to navigate his way through them. Denny Hamlin trying to see what he can do to gain some positions in his hometown, or at least his home track here in Richmond. Got a couple of them here in Virginia. And he's going to look to the inside of Austin Dillon and go for 8th place. So a solid run for him. 2nd best average finish among active drivers here. The lap traffic is giving Kevin Harvick a little bit of a problem. Joey Logano is going to try to catch up to him, narrow that gap to underneath a 2nd, but Logano is going to have to deal with the same traffic that Harvick's dealing with, and it looks like he's gotten around the 52 of Bailey Curry, and now trying to make a move to the inside of Kevin Harvick, who's led every lap so far this race. And they've got Ross Chastain in front of both of them. And the 15 chooses the inside line, but Logano peeking right ahead, and he's going to take the lead. But in battling with each other, Kyle Busch getting a little bit of an opportunity to catch up to both of them, as he's going to try to work his way, get into a rhythm, and at least try to get by this 15 car before he makes a move. As we take a look back at the drivers that qualified poorly. Ryan Blaney and Ryan Newman are still going pretty much nowhere. They're fairly static from where they started. Blaney was 29th, Newman 31st. They've gained a few positions, but not enough to be in contention, and that is a huge shame for both of those drivers who had great runs going for them at Bristol. Blaney 4th and Newman 9th. Jimmy Johnson is pushing himself up into the top 5, which is great to see. He's trying to hold off Denny Hamlin. Got to find a little bit more speed to catch up with that number 1 car, who was a second and a half ahead of him. On board Eric Almirola, he's trying to battle the 42, but Clint Boyer to his inside. This battle all happening outside the top 10. Chase Elliott just a little bit further ahead of them in that camp. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he is on the cutoff line for the playoffs, and yes, we are talking about playoffs already, but he is in that coveted 16th position. With only a few drivers that have won races so far this season, points are really going to become a factor, at least if this trend continues. And you can see Kyle Busch, he wants that lead. He is battling Kevin Harvick for second place, and they want to keep that Penske and Gibbs streak going into this season. And getting a good jump off the exit of turn 4. Looks like the 18 is going to take the second spot away. Meanwhile, Eric Jones trying to get by the 3 car. I believe they're both battling with some traffic. That is Ross Chastain that they're catching up to now. And the 20 able to get his nose underneath Austin Dillon. And he's heading up 1 spot. While some of the Hendrick cars are doing pretty well, the others are not, and that seems to be a trend so far this season. William Byron and Alex Bowman, running nose to tail with each other, are trying to keep up with their counterparts. Johnson in that top 10, as well as Elliott. Meanwhile, at the very front of the field, Ryan Blaney has just been lapped, and that is a huge surprise for a driver that led so many laps at Bristol. He's going to have a hard time in this one. Going to have to battle some of those guys that get put down a lap, like Matt Tifft, who had a very surprisingly good qualifying run, ended up in 20th place, which is one of his best runs so far this season. Daniel Suarez trying to fight with Martin Truex Jr. for one of those spots just outside the top 10. Suarez has been running very consistently as of these past few races, got some top 10s under his belt. Wasn't sure how well he was going to gel at SHR, but it looks like he can make a playoff run, as he's currently 12th in standings. Ryan Newman also going to be put down a lap by Joey Logano, as Newman's trying to fight his way back on the 22 car, unable to make it happen. Meanwhile, we got Kurt Busch up here starting to work his way and reel in the 2 car. Busch currently 7th. We've looked at him already, and he was running a little bit further up, but fading a little bit now. Ty Dillon, he had by his standards, he had a great run at Bristol. He ended up winning stage 1, had to battle Clint Boyer for it at Bristol. And now he is trying to hold off Joey Logano, make sure he keeps him down a lap. But we have trouble further in the field. Bubba Wallace getting turned by Corey LaJoie, and a couple of front runners going to smash into the side of the 43. That is Austin Dillon and Eric Almirola. From Dillon's hood, bang! LaJoie got into the 43 going into the corner, and the 3 and the 10 chose the wrong direction to go to avoid it. They are going to get some heavy damage. The 10 stays on the track, but the 3 does not. Austin Dillon going to finish last in this one. 43 is going to fade back a long ways in the standings as well. How about Matt DiBenedetto? He was running pretty mid-pack, but how is he still in the lead lap and up into about 13th position? A great run going again for Matt DiBenedetto. Trying to see what he can do in this one. Quick onboard look of Kyle Larson, who's made his way into the top 10, dealing with a little bit of lap traffic in Alex Bowman. And there is the 43 car, Bubba Wallace. You can see his back end is demolished and his door is slammed in. He's just trying to turn laps the best he can, but it's looking like a repeat of his rookie season, and he is not going to get the finishes that he wants. Eric Almirola, he's got damage as well, and he's still keeping up with these guys and still on the lead lap, but you got to imagine that eventually he's going to get lapped the way that his car is running right now, just not going to have the speed to keep on going. Denny Hamlin is trying to hold off a couple guys now as he's worked his way into 3rd place. Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch battling for 4th right behind him, but Hamlin's made a pretty swift move up here into the top 3, which is a great run for him. Meanwhile, Martin Truex Jr., who had a solid starting position, he is fading. He is no longer inside the top 10. Paul Menard going to try to battle him for position. But as we were discussing, we wanted to see if Martin Truex Jr. could get a win on a short track, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen tonight. Meanwhile, his teammate Kyle Busch is trying to work his way back up toward Joey Logano. And with this lap traffic that they're coming up on, it looks like he's going to have the opportunity to slip to the inside. And Busch heads to the lead. Going to have to battle some more lap traffic, and that might give Joey Logano the opportunity to come back as he's going to work that outside line. Ty Dillon also getting the momentum. Matt Tifft does not, and the 22 able to slide to the inside. Those two are going to go back and forth, and that's going to give Denny Hamlin the opportunity to catch back up to them. As now the 11 car looks to the outside of the 22, trying to see if he can follow the 13, and it might work here. They might get a good dive down in turn 1. That's going to be a battle that's going to continue to brew. Michael McDowell is going to be the last front row car to go a lap down, and they've been running pretty mid-pack. As expanding the 3 cars goes, it seems like they're going to have a little bit, possibly a little bit more power, but it seems like that is not the case. Their seasons are not going too well right now. Paul Menard trying to work that outside line, get around Daniel Suarez for position. Paul Menard, another driver that is good to highlight. He had a great run at Bristol as well. 6th place is finishing position, 19th in standings, trying to put himself above the bubble. We've got Kyle Larson now battling Brad Keselowski for 6th place. Larson gaining positions slowly but surely and trying to see if he can stay within earshot of a victory here. The fall of 2017 here at Richmond was his last victory in the Cup Series. Truex Jr. trying to make a lane on the outside. He's got company coming. Kyle Busch just barely in the distance. And as far as his run's going, he is looking at his rear view mirror and not seeing anybody that he needs to compete with. Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin are well away from him, but Denny Hamlin gonna have a mechanical problem. He's got a flat tire and he is pulled down to the inside. And he's just limping around, and that is a huge loss of position right there, running 2nd and 3rd around that range with Joey Logano battling for position, and that is a huge problem for the Virginia driver. Chris Buescher going a lap down there. He was having a great run. And now Hamlin back on track with his tires changed, and well, you can see the tire difference as he is able to just get right by the 18 car, so you can see just how bad the tires wear here at this racetrack. And with fresh tires, you're going to have easy opportunities to make passes. Look at Busch threading the needle, trying to lap the 41 for the first time. 36 already a lap down and just going a little bit further. The 18 making aggressive moves to make sure that drivers get put down a lap so that he can no longer have to deal with them for the rest of the race, or at least that is his plan. Meanwhile, you got the Hendrick drivers, Chase Elliott, Jimmy Johnson, working together there for a second, but now Johnson going to go to the inside and try to draft off of Brad Keselowski. They are battling in the 6th to 8th range. And here goes Martin Truex Jr. He is about to go a lap down, and Kyle Busch sweeps to his inside, and a few other drivers there in that group that are about to go a lap down as well. Denny Hamlin blowing right by Joey Logano. He is about to take his lap back if he can catch up to Kyle Busch a little bit further up in that field. If you need a second example, how about Bubba Wallace, who just made a pit stop? He is able to go right to the outside of Kyle Busch and take the position. He's going to have to deal with the slap traffic. That might slow him down, but tires are definitely faster once you get them changed, and that is exactly what Kyle Busch is going to come down to do. Hands over the lead to Joey Logano, who will come down the lap after. Kurt Busch will take the lead and then come down the next lap. So green flag pit stops taking place here. And who takes the lead after that cycle completes? Denny Hamlin. It seems like that mechanical problem actually put him out front. However, now that he's run several laps on those tires, he's going to be slower than the rest of the guys, and that's going to be a big problem for him. How about Ryan Newman? He started so far back that he got lapped, and we thought he wasn't going to be much of a factor. Well, he isn't going to get his lap back, but he has climbed all the way up into the top 15 putting up a great performance, as we saw Kurt Busch getting his lap back on Denny Hamlin, and it seems like a lot of the drivers are getting a lap or so back on the 11 car. William Byron making a push here. He's running in a solid position, which would be a solid backup to his 16th place at Bristol. And here comes Kyle Busch. He is going to make the move to the inside line, and that lead for Denny Hamlin is short-lived, as Kyle Busch is just right back up to the front. Now it's going to be a matter of how long can Denny Hamlin hold on to those tires before he needs a caution flag to fly, because he might get lapped by the time the 18 car gets back around. Eric Jones there, he is outside of the top 10, and that's a big disappointment for him after qualifying on the outside pole. Meanwhile, 18 trying to put down Brad Keselowski a lap, as we are now down to 6 cars on lead lap. Kyle Larson being one of them. He's the next car to go a lap down, but he's got Kevin Harvick just in front of him, trying to battle him for position. Meanwhile, you can see there goes Harvick on by Denny Hamlin. Kyle Larson going to be soon to follow, and here comes Busch once again. And the caution flag did not fly for Denny Hamlin as he needed it to, and Kyle Busch going to float to the inside line. Hamlin goes back down a lap, and talk about poor timing, because Alex Bowman just a few laps later going to blow up. 88 car up in smoke, and he is going to end up stopping on the racetrack, which means a caution will fly. Pit stops taking place. Ryan Newman gets in the Landon Castle as they intersect on pit lane, and that is going to put both of those guys a little bit further back in the field. Ryan Newman had such a great run going for him, that's just going to ruin it. We get the restart, and Kyle Busch takes off. Joey Logano barely able to keep up with him. We saw the Ford lead initially, 22 take the lead, and then when we got those pit stops originally, looks like the 18 made the changes to get his car tuned up as he needed it to. 5 cars on the lead lap, 4 organizations represented. Chip Ganassi's got both of their cars in that top 5. And now Hamlin is now on the same pit cycle as everybody, and in a way it kind of worked out, considering that mechanical problem, and he did fall down, I believe, 2 laps from that incident. He was able to make up that ground and still ended up back in 7th. Considering the kind of adversity that he's dealt with in some of these past few weeks, and still getting the win at Texas, seems like he's able to get through those problems easily. And so he's going to try to battle for a top 10 at least. We've got battles all around here in the top 5 still brewing. Ganassi teammates battling with each other. Kevin Harvick has fallen off of this group as he's still mired back in traffic. Kyle Busch now able to put a few lapped cars in between him and Logano. And that's exactly what he needs. He just needs a little bit of a buffer. And he's able to get by the 51 of Jeb Burton, also running in his native Virginia. And that is going to give him a little bit of clean air. Martin Truex Jr. only one in front of him at the moment. Meanwhile, Harvick trying to make a bold move to the inside as all of those lead lap cars were getting held up by the lapped cars. Kurt Busch, one of them. Now Harvick was able to catch up and make a move. And here goes Larson trying to make a move on the inside of Logano. So we are under 25 laps to go. Getting close to the end of this one, and Larson able to make a move. Clears the 22. At least he did temporarily. Good outside run for Logano, but the 13 goes up in smoke as well. And after a very solid run last week at Bristol, 13's not going to see the end of this one. We're going to have another restart with under 15 laps to go. And it's going to be Kyle Busch once again. You just cannot beat him off that restart. He has the dominant car, and no one's able to catch up with him. Logano back in the 2nd place, Larson in 3rd. But it's going to be Kyle Busch that's taking the white flag. 6 victories on this racetrack. He's got 2 in a row these past couple races at Richmond. And with the win at Bristol, he has the opportunity to make it 2 in a row on the season tonight. And that is exactly what he's going to do. 3 in a row here at Richmond. Kyle Busch takes the checkered flag. And that is one good run for that 18 team. Was able to make the proper adjustments after that first 100 laps. And Kyle Busch able to take his 4th victory of the season. Logano, Larson, Kurt Busch, and Kevin Harvick, the only other cars on the lead lap. They make up the top 5. Some Hendrick cars just outside. Brad Keselowski, Clint Bowyer, and how about Paul Menard? 2 back-to-back top 10s. Great runs for the 21 camp. Martin Truex Jr. is just outside of the top 10, along with his teammate Eric Jones. Somehow Denny Hamlin dropped all the way to 14th after he was just outside of that lead pack. Not sure how he dropped so far down there. Ryan Newman able to make a small recovery up to 19th place after his pit road woes. Ryan Blaney never really made a recovery, but he did get up to 22nd place, 3 laps down. Matt Benedetto, not sure how he ended up so far down considering where he was, but he is in 23rd. Eric Almirola's battered race car ends up in 30th place. And in the final positions, you see Darrell Wallace Jr., his battered race car was in 34th place, along with the 3 drivers that were not able to finish. Ty Dillon and Alex Bowman blew up, and Austin Dillon crashed with Bubba Wallace. That is it for this edition of NR2003 Predicts. Enjoy the race, and we'll see you next time.